Okay, so we're going to look at it as at weekly USC calculation. So it's page 27 inside in our exam papers, and then we need our tax reference material as well for this. Okay, so here we have, so we've been using the monthly ones last week. So now we're going to look at the weekly ones here. So it's the same logic behind it in that the first 231 will be USC'd at 0.5%. The next 162.92 at 2%, and then the next €953.08 will be at 4.5%. Okay, so let's just practice doing some of them there now. So as I said, we're here on page 27 and we're looking at number example 4 there. And the gross pay weekly now is €500. Okay, so gross pay is €500. And we're going to calculate the USC. Okay, and that's all I'm looking at in this particular one, just the USC by itself. So it's the first 231 at 0.5%. Okay, so the first 231 at 0.5%. Okay, then the next 162.92 at 2%. Which is 326. Okay, so I'm just working up the first 231 at 0.5, the next 162.92 at 2%, and then we check and see. So we'd €500, we've USC them on 231, we've USC them on 162.92. So that leaves us with €106.08. And then that's USC at 4.5%. Okay, and that's because the 106.08 is under the 953.08 that's already there. And then that's at 4.5%. Which is €4.77. Okay, and again, just building it up there. Okay, I'm just going to add that up then. Okay, and that is €9.19. Okay, and our €500 there. Okay, does that make sense? Is that okay? So very similar to what we saw last week, only it was a monthly one. And like we'll be practicing these weekly and monthly all the time as well with exam questions. Okay, then our next one there is example 5, and the USC we're looking for on €500. Sorry, we did the €500 one, the €300 one here. Okay, the next one here, €300. Okay, so this is example 5. And this is the gross pay of €300. So it's the first 231 at 0.5%, which is €1.16. And then if we look at our next band now, this time, our next band is €162.92. So do we need all that band? Do we need all that 162.92? So she has €300, he has €300. We've USC them on 231. So if I take 300 less 231, only the 69 exactly. So only on €69. And it'll be €69 by 2%. Okay, because sometimes you just won't go on to the next band. Okay, and that is 138. And then the 116 and the 138 gives us €2.54 for that. Okay, and that's our €300 then. And then our last one here is example 6. That I have 2 5s. That should be example 6. We've got a gross pay of €1,500. We've a pension of €150. Okay, so this is example 6. Okay, and this time we have a pension as well. So the gross pay is €1,500 and the pension is €150. Okay, so gross pay €1,500, pension of €150. But the important thing is here, pension cannot be deducted for USC calculation. Okay, so the pension cannot be deducted for USC calculation. So that means our USC will be based on the full €1,500. Okay, you can never deduct the pension for USC. You can never deduct the pension for PRSI. It's only for tax you can deduct the the pension. So again, we're on weekly pay. So we'll start again with the first 231 at 0.5%. And that is €1.16. Then the next 162.92 at 2%. And that gives us €3.26. So you're always starting off with the weekly 231 at 0.5%. The next 162.92 at 2%. And then we check and see, are we below the next band there? And the next band is €953.08. Okay, so we take €1,500 less 231 less 162.92. So 1500 less 231 less 162.92 gives me 1106.08. Okay, so that gives me 1106.08. So when I take my €1,500, take off the first USC band, take off the second USC band, I'm left with 1106.08. And if I check my tax reference material now, my next band is up to 953.08. So that means I am gone over it, aren't I? So I'm going to have 953.08 at 4.5%. Which is 42.89. And then the balance, which is 106.08 less 953.08, which is 153, and that's going to be USC. So everything over, once we've used our 1 band, our 2 band, our 3 band, everything over that is USC at 8%. So by 8. Which is 12.24. And then we're going to add them up, and that should give us 59.54. Okay, so again, just to go back over that, we'd €1,500, so we've 231 at 0.5%. The next 162.92 at 2%. Then we took our €1,500 less the 231 less the 162.92, which left me with 1106.08. But my third band for my USC weekly is 953.08. So it'll be 953.08 by 4.5%. And then the balance, 1106.08, which is what I had left here, minus the third band of 953.08. That leaves me with 153 at 8%, which is €12.24. Okay, and if I add that up there, that is all my 4 USC rates put together there. Okay, and that is my weekly USC. So it's the exact same as doing the monthly one, or yet you have, different band amounts, obviously, because we're doing weekly pay instead of monthly pay. Is that okay for that one? Yeah. Okay. So now we're going to do the PRSI. So I'm going to do the PRSI weekly now as well. And then we'll do a question where we'll bring everything together, the tax, the PRSI, and the USC. Okay, so if we go over to page 26 now in our notes, and I have some weekly PRSI for us to practice here now as well. Okay, so we're just going to look at our tax reference material now before we start on our calculations. So we're going to look at page 7 for our PRSI now. Okay, so these are our PRSI rates for our weekly pays here. So there was a change from January 2020 to February 2020, and that's due to the minimum wage going up. So the bands increased for PRSI as well. So we've got a PRSI class here called AO. That's if you earn between €38 and €352, your employer pays PRSI for you of 8.8%, but the employee pays no PRSI. So if you earn €352 or below in a week, you don't pay any PRSI. The employer still does pay PRSI, but the employee doesn't pay any PRSI. AX class then, so if you earn, so I'll go with the February, the January figure will be between 352 and 386, and from February then between 352 and 395. So once you're over 352, the employee is paying 4%. So anything over €352, the employee is paying 4% in PRSI. The AX class, the employer pays 8.8%. Then the AL and the A1 class, so anything over 386 up to January or anything over 395 from February, the employer is paying PRSI of €11.05 and the employee is paying 4%. So again, it's once you go over 352, every employee pays PRSI at 4%. Once you go over 395 from February, the employer's PRSI goes up to 11.05%. So it's sometimes in the weekly wages question, and it came up in one of the exam papers last year. They asked us to calculate the employer's weekly PRSI contribution as well. So that's why it would be only on the weekly one. It's not normally on the monthly one that she'd ask that. It'd be on the weekly one. So why we need to know these for weekly is because there's this other extra thing, which is called a PRSI credit. So if you look at note number 2 here, a PRSI credit applies for an employee earning between €352.01 and €424. They get a maximum credit of €12 each week. That's the max. But the credit is reduced if earnings exceed €352.01 as follows. So it's €12 less your excess earnings over 352.01, and then it says multiplied by a sixth, but I just divide it by a half, divided by 6 to get my answer out. So I'll just show it on my notes here a minute. So again, you'll have this in front of you for the exam, and you'll be able to see, okay, did this person earn between 352.01 and 424? Well, okay, they're entitled to the PRSI credit then. And why the PRSI credit was brought in was because the minimum wage was going up and people were actually paying, they were actually going to the PRSI rate then, which meant that they actually came off, they got an increase in their gross pay, but they were actually coming out with less pay because they were now paying maybe the PRSI because their wages were going over €352, which meant they were less well off when they should have actually been better well off. So they brought in this PRSI credit to counteract that then in the wages. So I'll just show you, I have a little note on it here. So this is the PRSI credit with a little example done. So this is a Class A employee PRSI will be calculated as 4% of gross weekly earnings. So that's anyone that's earning over €352, they are paying PRSI at 4%. The people between 352.01 and 424 could be entitled to a PRSI credit. Okay, so if we come down here, so this person, the following example shows how to calculate the PRSI credit for the new PRSI charge for gross weekly earnings of €377. So the first job there was PRSI at 4% was 1508. So if we take 377 by 4%, that gives me €15.08. So this person earns €377 and they should be paying PRSI of €15.08. They brought in this PRSI credit then. The max you can get is €12. But if you're over €352.01, you won't get that full €12. So you take your earnings of 377 less 352.01, which gives 24.99, and divide that by 6. So that this calculation is how much the USC or the PRSI credit is going to reduce by. So instead of getting a credit of €12, you're reducing it by 417. So the new PRSI credit that person is entitled to is €7.83. So they should have been paying PRSI of 1508. They now have a PRSI credit of 783. So this is that say 2020 on it there. The new PRSI now will be €7.25. Okay, so it's a PRSI credit for anyone earning between 352.01 and €424. And I've got some of them, I've got 3 or 4 of them here for us to practice now, just doing out that PRSI credit as well. So we'll start first with just working out just normal PRSI with no PRSI credit on it, and then we'll do a good few examples of this PRSI credit one as well. So if you go back there now to page 26 for me. So this person has a gross pay of €500 and a pension of €50. Okay. So example 1 here. Okay, and this is PRSI calculations. So we've got a gross pay of 500 and we have a pension of €50. But the important thing now for PRSI again is pension cannot be deducted when calculating PRSI. Okay, so pension cannot be deducted when calculating PRSI. So the PRSI for this person will be based on €500, a gross pay of €500. So if we were to look and try to work out what PRSI class they were on, so if you come in here to your PRSI, so they are on a gross of €500. So we're looking for over €500. So if you come down along here, class A1 in excess of €424. So anything over 424 is the employee is paying 4% and the employer is paying 11.05%. Okay, so the majority of people that are working are on the A, what's called an A PRSI class. These two on the bottom here, the SO and the S1 PRSI classes, they are for self-employed people or for directors of companies. They would be on the S class. But here, all these A classes, but everyone who's working would be on an A PRSI class. As in working in the private sector, public sector, there's different PRSI classes in there. But for private sector, I should say, we'll be all on the A class. So over €500, this person is €500. So in excess of 424, it is 4% PRSI. And if you just remember it, anyone that has over €352 a week, they're on 4% PRSI. Okay, no matter if you're earning €360 or you're earning €1,360, you pay PRSI of 4%. So that will be for the employee, will be €500 by 4%, and that is €20. Okay, so it's the employee, it's €500 by 4%, which is €20. And then just in case you're asked for the employer, again, you take the gross pay, you can't deduct any pension or anything. It's €500 by 11.05%, which is €55 and 25 cents. That'll be the employer's PRSI. Okay, so the employee, so once you're over €352, you're paying PRSI at 4%. And then the employer is paying 11.05% once the pay goes over €395. He's paying at 11 or she's paying at 11.05%. And then just in case you put in a question about the total cost, so the total, or if you're in a real life situation and someone came to you, what's the total cost to me of employing that person? So the total cost to the employer is the gross pay of €500 plus the employer's PRSI. And the employer's PRSI is 55.25. Okay, so 500 plus 55.25 gives me €555 and 25 cents. Okay, just in case they asked what was the total cost to the employer. And if you were ever out in a real life situation and you were ever doing payroll and your employer came to you and said, how much will that person cost now for me to employ him or her? It's always the gross pay plus the employer's PRSI is the total cost. Okay, are we okay with that? Yeah? Okay, so our next one, if we look at example 2, okay, the gross pay here is €650 and the pension is €55. So gross pay is 650, pension is 55, but the important thing is, again, the pension cannot be deducted when calculating PRSI. So again, the employee, as I said, once the employee, if we go back to our tax reference material, once an employee is earning over €352, they'll be paying PRSI at 4%. So we will have our gross pay, our employees' PRSI is 650 by 4%, and that is €26 for the employee. And what rate will the employer pay at? So if you go back and check it, we've got a 650. Yeah, so it's over the 424. So the employer will pay at 11.05 exactly. So 650 by 11.05%. which is €71 and 83 cents. Okay, for the employer. Like, it doesn't come up in all the exam questions, just in case some question she does put it on to calculate the employers. Unless she specifically asked you to calculate the employers, you don't do it. Most of the questions she'd only ask you for the net pay or the take home pay. Okay, our next one then is example 3. Example 3. So we've got a gross pay of €340. Okay, so example 3. So first, just go over to your tax reference material now, and we're going to see what PRSI class are they on with €340. Yeah, the weekly, it's the same kind of calculations. The only thing we have to watch out for the weekly one is just the PRSI credit. Other than that, they're exactly the same, whether you're on weekly or monthly pay. So what PRSI class are you on if you're on €340 a week? Nil, exactly. Yeah, so we're on the AO PRSI class, so the employee will actually have no PRSI. Yeah, exactly. And the employer will still pay at 8.8%. Okay, so for the employee, it's PRSI class AO. The employee, no PRSI, nil PRSI. Okay, so if you earn between €38 and €352, you pay no PRSI as the employee. But the employer does pay. So the employer pays $340 at 8.8%. And that is €29.92. No, you wouldn't have to write down the PRSI class unless she asked you for the PRSI class. No, I just wanted you to get used to seeing the different PRSI classes that are there, Monica. That's all. Okay, so even though the employee pays no PRSI, the employer is still paying PRSI of €340. And all the employer's PRSI all goes into the pension pot, as in, like, to pay social welfare pensions. That's where all that employer's PRSI will be going. And remember, the employer's PRSI is a cost onto the gross pay for the employer. Okay, so we try the next one there. So our next one now, we have PRSI weekly, and our gross pay is €380. Okay, so gross pay, €380. So we just check now our PRSI over here. So it's AX, exactly, AX, because he's got €380. Okay, so between 352.01 and 386 or 395 if it's for February, they're paying at 4%. So the PRSI class is AX. So for the employee, that's 380 by 4%, which is €15.20. Okay, €15.20. But we have a little thing here with this one then. So this person will look at the PRSI credit because they're earning between €352.01 and €424. Okay, so when you earn between both of them, you are entitled to the PRSI credit. Okay, so we'll do this underneath. So the PRSI credit the max is €12. Okay, so the max is €12. But then you have to work out and see how much will this person actually get. So you take the earnings of the person, which are €380, less 352.01, and that gives you 380 less 352.01 gives you 27.99. Okay, so it's the earnings of that person less 352.01 gives us 27.99, and then 27.99 divided by 6 gives us €4.67. So divided by 6 gives us €4.67, and that's the amount the PRSI credit is going to be reduced by. So instead of getting a €12 PRSI credit, so 12 minus 467, they are now getting a PRSI credit is €7.33. And that €7.33 is minused off the PRSI that person owes. So 1520, he was at the start, less his PRSI credit of 733 gives us €7.87. Okay, so I'll go back over that there now again. So we have a gross pay of €380. The employee will pay 380 at 4%, which is €15.20. Okay, and because that person is earning between 352.01 and €424. So whenever you get a weekly person, just go into your tax reference material, okay, and go in here and check what are the earnings for the PRSI credit. So it's between 352.01 and 424. The max credit you can get is €12, but that's reduced. You take the earnings less 352.01. So like they say, excess earnings over 352.01. So that is the 380 less 352.01 gives us 27.99, and 27.99 divided by 6 gives us €4.67. And that's the PRSI credit then. You take the max, which was €12, we reduce it by 467, and that brings it down to the PRSI credit now that they will get is €7.33. So we take the 1520, the PRSI, less the 733, and that is €7.87. Yeah, so it depends on your wages, like as in how many people in a real life situation or for an exam situation. So like in a real life situation, like the majority of people now are on a computerized system. So it would be done automatically for them. It's done automatically through the wages. So like you don't have to think about applying for the PRSI credit. Your employer would have it through their payroll system, and that would work it out automatically for you on the system itself. You don't actually apply for it after. It's done as your wages are being done. Okay, that's our PRSI credit. And how much would the employer be paying there? What rate will the employer be paying? Yeah, it is easier to do the payroll now. Because obviously everything is computerized. Like when I was doing this, when I started off, like I'm working 25 years in the same office. And when we started, I had to do everything handwritten out, as in do every whole employee's wages on a tax deduction card, which was great because you actually learned payroll, everything. I could actually tell you all the credit, all the bands and all these rates off, no bother back then. But now I wouldn't. I'd have to use my tax reference material because all I'm doing is pressing buttons when I'm putting in wage. Like I did all the wages for my clients. So I think I've got 30 clients for payroll, and I just did them all this morning. And it's just like clicking a button and just making sure the hours and stuff are right, obviously. But then it's grand saying just put it in. But if where it's with somebody comes back to you and says, how was that calculated? Why am I only getting that? And that's why you need the understanding from from this point of view of being able to work out each part of it. But it's definitely easier. You couldn't do payroll now on a manual basis because there's so many calculations in there. You'd have to have that 24/7, maybe someone, if you've got a big company trying to do payroll for them. Yeah, there will still be would be mistakes made. There would be like I had tax now last night with the class that started in January, who will be doing their exams as well in August, and we were doing payroll as well. And one girl was saying her husband went back to work and he actually paid a load of tax, but he's been on the PUP payment, and he went back to work now, so he actually paid a load of tax because the revenue took all the tax credits and cut off points off people and put them all against the PUP payment. So if any of you are going back to work or anything in the next couple of weeks or months, just make sure when you start back at work to get in touch with the revenue to get your credits and cut off points sorted out straight away. Because they'll give you then probably on a week one, month one basis, you'll get your tax credits and your cut off points. I've been telling people that because we had the same problem at work. There was people coming back on construction and stuff, and they had no tax credits, and they were everything was being taxed at 52%, so they weren't happy. They blamed us, of course, but we can't. We have to get in touch with the employee has to get in touch with the revenue to give us the tax credits. We can't work it out otherwise. Let me see. Can I go into my? So I have I teach payroll. I used to, but this is like a payroll system here. This is the trial. This is what we use at work, but this is a trial version. So just if you saw it here, like it's like, so if I go in here, so like when you're doing payroll inside here, all you're doing is see this this is like how a payroll system would look now. So like you'd have this is be your employees being set up inside here. You'd have all their details inside here. You have your RPNs then, so that's how you get your tax credits now for an employee. You'd go in here and click this RPN. So this is a training tool one here, obviously, so we don't contact the revenue, but in a real life situation, they'd say you're contacting the revenue, and then you get the tax credits and cut off point here. You probably can't, it's probably a bit small to see it on your screens, and it gives this person their annual tax credits, their annual cut off point, their USC rates all up along. And then this person, Kelly Hart, she's on a week one basis. She actually has no tax credits and cut-off point. And that's what happened for people who went back off the PUP payment on to working. They actually had no tax credits, cut-off point, or USC rate when they went back. So all you do for that one then is just update it. Okay, let me see now if you go into your clock then and you do your hours. So say if someone was on, we'll put her in there for, what would that be? Just to see, could we see someone with, so you could see the PR side credit. Okay. Okay, Irene, yeah, did they get tax back in that case? I've just gone back to work and yeah. So if you're put on the week one, month one basis, you won't get your tax back until the end of the year. But if they put you on the cumulative basis, you would get your tax back on your next wages then once you've actually contacted them. So you should get onto the revenue, Irene, and get them to sort out your credits and just tell them and ask them, are you on a week one basis or on your cumulative basis? And then that you'll know then whether you'll be paying tax or not. So you see here now, this is this person here. So this person is on 356 is her taxable gross. And if you, can I make that screen bigger? I can't make it bigger. Can I? Down the bottom here is the PRSI. So you see they've worked out the PRSI credit here. So this person has, oh, she's 396, is it? So 396 at 4%. PRSI credit is €12, less 396 minus 352 divided by 6 is 467, which gives 1117. And that's how much is her PRSI then. It does out all the USC as well. She's actually exempt from, I don't know why, this is like a trial one I've set up to work on. But that's how it comes out then. So that's why I'm saying it's good to know how these calculations work, because someone could come to you and say, oh, why am I paying this and why am I paying that in tax? Deirdre, as in get your credit sorted out, is it? Yeah, you can go into the My Account. If you go into the My Account, there's an inquiries place inside there where you can actually apply and tell them you're going back to work. But I'd probably ring them if it would done quicker, because sometimes they're not monitoring. It could take 4 or 5 days or more for them to look at that. Whereas if you ring them, it'll be sorted straight away. Okay, so that's just like I said, like a little computerized system there, and this person then, if we update their file, we can see all their workings as well. So it's great, and this is accumulating up their paid in. It gives you all the breakdown of tax, PRSI, and USC. And then you just update their wages. So see, I update their wages there. Okay, and then you see this thing pops up here. It's called a PSR. Remember I was saying how you contact the revenue every week or month, and you prepare this statement, and that's saying, oh, we owe 955.73 for this month to the revenue, and it gives all the details of the employee's wages going in as well, and that fires off there into the revenue every week or every month. So that's the system we use at work, and this is a system like I use for teaching on the payroll course as well. But it's a great system, the thesaurus. And even if you were going, say, on a job or you wanted to look at payroll, you can actually download thesaurus up online for a month, or is it 90 days? It's for a period of time anyway, before you actually have to buy the package. So it's a good thing to look at as well if you ever were going doing wages. Okay, so go back to our PRSI anyway. Our last one we're looking at now is a weekly pay of €405. Okay, so we have gross pay, 405. Okay, so what PRSI class are we going to be on for 405? If we look inside in our tax reference material, for what are we on, 405? So it would be up, I think, the next one, wouldn't it? So over 395 or 386, so it would be the AL one there, wouldn't it? Yeah, the AL. So once you're over 395, you're onto the AL class here, if we're taking on in February. So the employer pays at 11.05 and the employee still pays at 4%. So the employee, 405 by 4%, and that is €16 and 20 cents. Okay, and because they're earning between 352.01 and 424, you've got the PRSI credit. So the PRSI credit, the max is €12. But we take the 405 less the 352.01, and that gives us 52.99, and then divide that by 6. And that is €8.83. Okay, €8.83. So this person's PRSI credit will be the €12 less the 8.83. Okay, and there should be euros there. So that is the PRSI credit. Is €3.17. So instead of paying €16.20, they're now going to pay PRSI of €13.03 will be the PRSI. Okay, that's their PRSI then. Okay, so your PRSI credit, you look at and see the max is the €12, then you take the earnings that the person has, less 352.01. In this case, will give us 52.99, divided by 6, gives us 8.83. Take the 8.83 off the €12, that gives us 3.17, and then 3.17 off of 16.20 brings the PRSI down to €13.03. Okay, €13.03. Okay, so will we bring all that together now? Will we try a question that brings all of that in together for us? So I'm going back to page 25. Okay, so page 25. Okay, so these are just now to practice putting the whole lot together for weekly pay. So we're on to example or sample number 3 here. So we've got a weekly salary of 600, weekly BIK of 25, pension of 60, weekly cut-off point is 678.85, and a weekly tax credit of €63.46. Okay. So this is weekly pay. Page 25. Okay, so we're going to start with our weekly salary there. So the salary is €600. Okay, and we've got a BIK, so a taxable BIK of €25. So again, just to give a difference between them, we've got our gross pay before benefit in kind, which is 600. We've got our benefit in kind in, and that's bringing us up to 625. So that's our gross, including BIK. And then we've got a pension, less the pension, and that is €60. So that is 565 is our taxable pay. Okay, so our salary, then we add on our BIK. Okay, and remember your BIK is like could be like a car or could be a loan you got for your employer. It's like a preferential loan, or it's usually the car would be the one that will be included inside there. Okay, and that's a taxable source, so we put that in money in there to tax it. Then we take off our pension, and that gives us our taxable pay of 565. Then our standard rate cut-off point. Okay, standard rate cut-off point is 678.85. Okay, which is given to you in the question. So what does that mean for this person? Will they be taxed at 20%, or will it be partly at 20 and then more at 40, or will it be all 20%? So if his taxable pay is 565, standard rate cut-off point is 678.85. He's under his standard rate cut-off point, isn't it? So the whole lot will be at 20%. So the 565 at 20%, and that is 113 euro. Is there this? No. So in the payroll question, just to remember to leave in your decimal points there. So it's 113 euro. Okay, and then less our tax credit. And the tax credit is 63.46. So that's bringing us down to 49 euro and 54 cent is you can call it tax or you can call it PAYE. The BIK, Monica, is probably for, it's like they probably say a company car. It's if it was a bike to work scheme, it would be an exempt BIK. But this BIK here would be a taxable BIK we're putting inside here. So the use of a company car or a preferential loan or the employer paying your gym membership, they'd all be taxable BIKs. And that's why they're included in here. We're taxing them inside here now and paying the tax, the PRSI and USC on it. Okay, so that's giving us, I say you can call this tax or you can call it PAYE. Okay, it's all the same, it's all tax we're paying there. Then we have our PRSI. Okay, and you remember inside here, and I just keep putting it in, pension cannot be deducted for PRSI calculation. Okay, so the pension cannot be deducted for PRSI. Okay, so we go back then and we do PRSI them on the figure including the BIK. So the BIK is liable to PRSI, it's liable to tax, it's liable to USC. So our PRSI will be based on 625 euro. Okay, so it's the figure including the BIK but before the pension. Okay, so it's based on 625. Okay, and what rate of PRSI are we paying on that? So remember, anyone that's over 352 euro, they're going to pay PRSI at 4%. So by 4%. And that is 25 euro. Okay, and that is the PRSI. Okay, so anyone over €352 paying PRSI for the employee at 4%. Okay, then our USC. So again, I'll just bring it down here just to put in again. Pension cannot be deducted for USC calculation. Okay, so pension cannot be deducted for the USC calculation. So I need to go to page 8 now of our tax reference material. Okay, and to work up through our rates now again. And our USC is based again on the €625. Okay, so based on €625. And if we go to page 8 now of our tax reference material, so we'll have our weekly amounts now. So our first, 231 at 0.5%, our next, 162.92 at 2%, and then our next band at the 4.5%. So we will have 231 at 0.5%. Then the next 162.92 at 2%. Okay, and then the balance. So we check. So we have 625 less 231 less 162.92. Okay, so we take the 231 at 0.5, the next 162.92 at 2, and then we check and see what have we got left to USC them on. So we've going to USC them on 231.08. Just check our bands. So up to 953.08 we can get at the 4.5% rate. So we're going to multiply that by 4.5%. And that is €10.40 for our third band there. And that's giving us USC of €14.81. Okay, €14.81. Okay, and this just, are we okay? Is that okay for the USC? So 231 or 162.92, we check, and then that's at 4.5%. Okay, and then we must work out our net pay then. So it'll be our gross pay, or it'll be our gross pay before the BIK. Because remember, BIK is what they call notional pay, in that you can't it's like it's only what you're being taxed on for the use of the company car. It's not actual money you're receiving. So what's my gross pay before BIK is my salary there of €600. Then less the pension, less the tax, less the PRSI, and less the USC. Okay, so less the pension, less the tax, less the PRSI, and less the USC. So the pension is €60. Tax is €49.54. PRSI is €25. And USC is €14.81. Okay, and then we're going to add them up. And that's giving us a net pay of €450 and 65 cents. Okay, so when you're bringing it out, it's your gross pay before the BIK, less the pension, then less your tax, less your PRSI, and less your USC. And that's that person done with all his deductions or her deductions done. Is that okay? Are we have any queries, or are we okay? Okay, so if we're okay, we try the next one there, which is example 4, and that is a weekly salary of 300, weekly BIK of 25, a pension of €50. Okay, so weekly pay, example 4, page 25. Okay, so we've got our salary of €300. Okay, there's a BIK of 25. So we'll have our gross pay before BIK is 300. BIK is €25. It's 325. That's our gross including BIK. And then less the pension, and the pension is €50. So that's bringing us down to €275. Okay, so we're going to tax them then. So we take our gross pay, our BIK, to give us our gross including BIK, less our pension. That gives us our taxable pay. Okay, so our taxable pay is €25. The standard rate cut-off point is 678.85. But he doesn't need all that cut-off point, sure he don't. He only needs €275. So the 275 will be at 20%. And that is €55. Okay, €55. Then less the tax credit. And the tax credit is 63.46. So if the tax is €55, the tax credit is 63.46. That actually brings you down to a 0. So you don't get, it's like this is like a non-refundable tax credit here. You don't get back the difference. That would actually be a 0. They'd actually have 0 tax on there. Okay, 0 tax, so the tax is 0. So if your tax is 55, tax credit 63.46, that leaves you to paying no tax that week. as I said, it's like a non-refundable tax credit. You can't get the tax back, a difference there. What that would happen then if you're on a cumulative version, that extra tax credit you haven't used that week would be carried forward to your next week's pay then. So you don't lose it, it'll be carried forward. Okay, then our PRSI. Okay, so our PRSI, again, just to put in, pension cannot be deducted for PRSI. So if the pension cannot be deducted, what is my PRSI going to be based on? Which figure will I pay PRSI on? It'll be my figure before the pension, so it'll be on the 325, okay? So the BIK would also be included, so it will be the 325. You pay tax, you pay PRSI, and you pay USC on the gross, including the benefit in kind there. So it's 325. So what will the PRSI they'll be paying? Nil, exactly. So if you earn less than €352, you are paying no PRSI. Okay, so the PRSI there is a 0. And then USC, again, just to put it in, pension cannot be deducted for USC. Okay, so we will have, if you go back to page 8 now, so first, what's it based on? The USC is based on, again, the 325, the figure before the pension. So we will have 231 at 0.5%. Okay, then the next 162, do we need all that? 231 plus 162, 92. We don't, so we don't, we only need 94 exactly. So 325 less 231 is 94 at 2%. And that is €1.88. And that is €3.04 in USC. Okay, so the USC is €3.04. Okay, and let's work out all that then. So we have our gross before the BIK. Okay, so the gross before the BIK. So when you're working out your net pay or your take-home pay here at the bottom, it's always before the BIK. And what was that? That was €300. Less the pension, less the tax, less the PRSI, less the USC. Okay, so the pension is 50. PRSI, our tax is 0. PRSI is 0. and USD is €3 and 4 cents. Okay, and let's add all them up there. So we have that gives me, just to put a euro on it there, €246 and 97 cents, which is the net pay. Okay, net pay 246 and 97 cents. Is my net pay there. So the only thing to watch there was you're not entitled to get the tax credit back, as in here, if your tax is less than your tax credit, it brings your tax down to 0. PRSI, because she was under 352, means there's 0 PRSI. And then you have your USC based on your figure before the pension, but including your BIK. Okay, and we're actually, for what we've done now, we're actually ready to do an exam paper on these. So I'm just going to show you, and this I think is the October 2019 exam paper. So like we have a lot of the hard work done now on this topic. We have to do emergency tax, which we'll do next week, how you would work, how it works if you're on emergency tax. And then we've got the cumulative then as well, where we accumulate all the figures up, but it'll still be the same calculations for PRSI and the same calculations for USC and tax. The same method will be applying. So we're going to try an exam paper here. So we're going to go over to page 101. Okay, and I said this is the August, isn't it? Yeah, it's August 2019 exam paper. Okay, so page 101. Okay, and you have here that you manage the payroll for Connor and Company Limited, and the following details refer to 2 employees. Okay, so it's broken down into 3 parts then. So if you look always, when doing these questions, look at the requirement. So we have calculate Van's net pay for January of 2020. Calculate Martin's net pay for the first week of January 2020. And then the last part there, that's about self-employed PRSI and USC. We'll be looking at that next week about self-employed PRSI and USC. The same rules apply, but we'll look at that separately next week as well as the emergency tax. So, Van Smith. Van has been employed by Connor and Company for a number of years and is paid monthly. Van's annual salary is $48,000 a year. He makes monthly contributions through a payroll to the company pension scheme of $400 per month. He has use of a company car for the whole year, and the benefit in kind charge for the year is €6,000. Van's monthly standard rate cut-off point is 2879.17, and his monthly tax credits are 275. Okay, so even though we're given the annualized figure, remember we are asked to do the net pay for 1 month for the month of January. So we'll just divide them down and get the monthly ones for them. Okay, so this is August 2019, page 101, and that is Van Smith. Okay, so Van Smith, and this is monthly payroll. Okay, so monthly payroll we're doing here. Okay, and we're going to start off first with his salary. Okay, and we're told his salary is 48,000. We're going to divide that by 12 to give us the monthly salary of €4,000. Okay, so that's all we've got to do. Take the salary of 48,000, divide it by 12, and give us our monthly of €4,000. Okay, that's our 4,000 for that. Then he makes a monthly contribution to the payroll, to the company pension scheme of €400 per month. Okay, so we've got pension, so it'll be less the pension, which is 400 for the pension. And then the benefit in kind charge for, so he has the use of a company car for the whole year, and a company car is a taxable benefit in kind. So the benefit in kind charge for the year is €6,000. Okay, so this is our gross before BIK is 4,000. Then the BIK for the company car. Okay, so a benefit in kind for the company car, and a benefit in kind is a taxable benefit in kind. And that is €6,000, isn't it? 6,000. And that is divided by 12. And that gives me the monthly figure there of €500. Monthly figure 500. So we add both of them together, and that's giving me my gross, including the BIK. Okay, so gross including the BIK. So the salary, it's my gross before BIK plus the BIK. That's my gross including BIK, and then less the pension. And that's giving me my taxable pay. Okay, so salary, BIK is gross, then less the pension, giving me the taxable pay of €4,100. Okay, then I'm going to look at my standard rate cutoff point. And that will be given to you in the question, and that is 2879.17. Okay, 2879.17. And what does your standard rate cut-off point mean? That's how much you can earn at 20%. And then anything over that, you go on to the 40% bracket. So 2879.17 by 20% is 575.83. And then the balance, 4,100 less 2879.17. That gives me 1,220.83, and that's at 40%. And that's 488.33. Yeah, 1,220.83. So that's giving us tax of 1,064.17, and then less the tax credit. And the tax credit is 275. And that's giving me tax, or as I said, you can call it PAYE. PAYE, or tax, that is €789.17. Okay, 789.17 for the tax. So your standard rate cut-off point, how much you get? 20%. The balance is at 40%. Add them together, then less the tax credit, and that gives us our tax of 789.17. Okay, then our next one is the PRSI. And again, so I keep just writing in just to keep thinking, pension cannot be deducted for PRSI. Okay, so pension cannot be deducted for PRSI. So our PRSI is based on, so what figure will I be PRSIing them on? What's my amount? So if we look back up, it'll be the 4,500, exactly, the 4,500. So it'll be the figure here, the gross, including the BIK. Yeah, the salary plus the BIK, exactly. We leave the pension out of it. So that is 4,500 by our 4%. And that is €180. And that is the PRSI. Okay, so our PRSI at 4% once you earn over 352 per week. So our USC then, again, just to put it in there, pension cannot be deducted for USC. Okay, and USC is based on, what's by USC going to be based on again? The 4,500 again, exactly, the 4,500. So if we go then to our tax reference material again, so we need our monthly here, so it's 1001 at 0.5%, 706 at 2%. Okay, so we have 1001 at 0.5%. Is 501. The next 706 at 2%. And then the balance. So we have 4,500 less 1001 less 706 gives us 2793. And then that is, just check, that is below the 4130. That would be USC at 4.5%, which is €125.69. Okay, and let's add them up then. So that is 144.81 for our USC. Okay, so USC 144.81. Okay, so let's put all that now together. So we've got our gross pay before the BIK, and that's my salary figure there of 4,000. Then less the pension, less the tax, less the PRSI, less the USC. Okay, so your gross before the benefit in kind, less the pension, less the tax, and less the USC. Okay, so that is, the pension is 400. The tax is 789.17. PRSI is 180. And USC is 144.81. So that is €2,486.02 for Van Smith. Okay, and that was for 10 marks. I'll get out the exam paper now in a minute and show you the solution, just to show you how it's marked in a minute there once you've the other one done. Okay? And again, it's working down through each little piece, watching which one your PRSI is based on, watching which one your USC is based on. Okay, so just to the second, so are we okay, or do we have any queries on that? We're okay with Van Smith? Okay, perfect. So the second person then, which is Martin Jones. So Martin is paid weekly by Connor and Company and earns €400 per week. His weekly standard rate cut-off point is 664.62, and his weekly tax credit is €63.46. So it's a weekly payroll we have to do this time with €400 per week. And what we're watching out for when he's got €400 per week, What are we watching out for when we're doing him? What can he get for the €400? The credit, the PRSI credit, exactly. We were watching out for the PRSI credit. Okay, so August 19, page 101, and this is Martin Jones. So Martin Jones, and he is weekly pay. So he's got his salary there of €400. And there's no BIK, there's no pension or nothing, so there's no point putting that stuff in, just salary, €400. Okay, and we have then, so he has his weekly standard rate cutoff point. So his standard rate cutoff point is 664.62. Okay, so 664.62. So what's he going to pay his tax at? His salary is 400, standard rate cutoff point is 664. So what's it all going to be? It's all going to be at 20% exactly. So 400 by 20%, and that is €80. Okay, €80. And then less the tax credit. And tax credit is 63.46. So that is giving us tax, or as you can call it, PAYE, of €16.54. Okay, so he's under his standard rate cut-off point, so it's all at 20%, less the tax credit, and that's giving us tax or PAYE of $16.54. Okay, then we have our PRSI. Okay, so how much is he going to pay in PRSI? So he's over the 352, so his PRSI is going to be at 4%, exactly, by 4%. And that is €16. Okay, but then we're going to look at the PRSI credit. Okay, the PRSI credit. And the max is €12. But again, he's earning between 352.01 and 424. So if you go back to page 5 on your tax reference material, you'd have your no, not 5. Where's my 6, 7 even? Page 7 there. So you check and see €400. So he's on AL class there. So he's paying 4%, but he's between 352.01 and 424. So we take our earnings less 352.01 and divide it by 6 then. So it'll be €400 less 352.01, and that gives us 47.99. And then we're going to divide that by 6. And that gives us €8. Okay, so it's going to reduce the PRSI credit by €8. So his PRSI credit is €4. Okay, so instead of having the 12, he only has 8. So it's 400 less 352.01 is 47.99, and divide that by 6 is 8. So the PRSI credit is 4. So minus 4 there, which means his PRSI is €12. Okay, so the PRSI is €12. Okay, and then our last job is the USC. Okay, so again, it's based on the €400. So we're on weekly, remember now this time. So if I go into my tax reference material here for page 8, we have weekly, the first 231 at 0.5 and the next 162.92 at 2%. So we will have 231 at 0.5%, which is 116. Excuse me, the next 162.92 at 2%. And then the balance, so 400 less 231 less 162.92, which is €6.08, and that is at 4.5%. Which is 27 cents. Is that right? 608 by 4.5%. And then we add them up, and that is 469, and that is the USC. So again, you work it up 231 at 0.5, the next 162.92 at 2%, and then 608 at 4.5%. Okay, and let's bring it all together then. So we've got his gross pay is 400, less the tax, less the PRSI, and less the USC. Okay, so less the tax. So tax is 16.54. PRSI is €12, and USC is 4.69. So that gives me a net pay of €366.77. Okay, for Martin. Okay, and that is him worked out there. Okay, is that okay for him? And I just wanted to show you just the solution now for that. I just got it up here on the ATI just to show. All I want to show you is the marking scheme, because the figures now are obviously different because there was different rates of USC and stuff, and there was a higher rate and stuff there on it. But just to show you how it's worked out, so we get our taxable pay there is a mark, so it's probably broken down into adding on the BIK and minusing the pension off of it. It would be broken down into probably maybe half a mark each for getting this. And then you see the 20% band, you get a mark. The 40% band, you get a mark. For taking off your tax credit, you get a mark. And then for taking the 1064 less the 275, you get a mark there as well, for bringing that down. So even if you got some part of this wrong up here, you're still getting marks for the part you do correctly. PRSI at 4% is a mark. Then your 3 rates of USC, you get a mark for each of them, and then a mark for adding them all up. And then for bringing it down here, you get a mark for that. That again will be broken down into a quarter of a mark for taking off the pension, for taking off the PAYE, taking off the USC, taking off the PRSI. So even if your figures are wrong here, you still get your mark for bringing it down and just minusing them off to come up with your net pay there. And the same then for the weekly pay. So again, half a mark for doing your 40% by doing your tax credits. 2 marks in for working out the PRSI. There's probably a mark going for doing it by the 4% and a mark for working out your PRSI credit. It'll be broken down like that. And then again, marks for breaking down your USCs, and then the same for bringing down and minusing the figures off of it there. Okay, so again, I keep saying it's not about getting the final figure right. You're getting marks for everything you are doing down along through it there. Okay, just so you could see how it's worked out for them. Okay, so that's all our stuff for today. Okay, so what I've done is, so if you want to practice just questions with there's just a practice on PRSI and USC and that kind of stuff for weekly pay. And I have the solutions actually up already. They're under the solutions from last week. On page 29, there are weekly pays inside there, just with a salary, a weekly salary there as well, and a weekly salary with the PRSI credit on it. And I said the solutions are actually up on Moodle already for them if you do want to practice them. So they're up there here under the payroll solutions for 28 and 29. But I can bring them up into this week's one as well, so you'll have it. Okay, and then what I've done on top here, I've set up a little page for assignments. So again, these assignments are not compulsory. It's an income tax question. I've put up it's due by the 7th of May, but that's only just to put it up there. If anybody wants to do it, as in do the question and submit it to me and I'll mark it for you. If you haven't got time this week and you plan to do it maybe 2 or 3 weeks down the line, that's perfectly fine as well. Okay, as I said, I'm just putting up there that if you want to practice an income tax question, because like we won't be revising income tax until July again. So if you wanted to just practice every now and then a question, you could pick one up there and you say, Carson, could you have a look at that for me? You could email me in and say, can you look at that? I put it up there today. Okay, or if you want to do it before next Friday, I'll correct it and give you a bit of feedback on how it's laid out and how we get on as well. Okay, I've done the same in accounting then. Let's just go into my accounting one. So this is my accounting here. So I put up a little one for assignment here as well, which was the question on page 16, which is the August 2010 exam paper. And again, I said it's not compulsory. If you want to do it, you can and hand it up before next week. And if not, if you feel like doing it down the line, again, you can hand it up later on. There's no pressure or anything on anyone to do these within the week. I know it's hard between jobs and home life and studying and everything. There's a lot to be done. Okay, but again, hand them up if you do want to. There's no bother. Okay, so let's us sort